Mayor Pro Tem, my name is Gary Anderson. And if we could begin the meeting with item 1.1 with the Pledge of Allegiance, Mark, and then followed by a prayer by myself.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity to come to City Council tonight. We're thankful for the opportunity to swear in the newly elected officials. We're thankful for all that our city staff has done for our city. We ask you to bless us as we go into our City Council meeting, as we discuss items on the agenda. We ask you to help us to have that guidance. We ask for thy favors and blessings sincerely in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Moving into item 1.3, Haley, roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Mark Rochelle.
Here.
Councilmember Eileen Moss.
Here.
Councilmember Philip Sadler.
Here.
Councilmember Sean Stevenson.
Excused.
Mayor John Coleman.
Excused. All right, now moving into item 2.1, we'll have the swearing in of the newly elected mayor, Jeannie Groberg, and then to follow item 2.2, swearing in of the council members, Blake Winslow and David Hale.
I'll give you yours so you can read it if you want.
Okay.
Will this be broadcast? I believe so. Yeah. All right, it's an exciting time. So we will not spend much time at all. My name is Brad Christofferson. I'm the city attorney. I was asked to do this tonight. I don't do this in my role as a city attorney. I do this in my role as a notary because that's what the Utah Constitution requires. So, Mayor-elect Groberg, if you would raise your right arm to the square. I state your name.
I, Jeannie Groberg,
Pledge to uphold and defend
pledge to uphold and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
along with the laws of the state of Utah,
along with the laws of the state of Utah,
and the policies of Fruit Heights City.
and the policies of Fruit Heights City.
As the mayor,
As the mayor,
I commit to carrying out my duties
I commit to carrying out my duties
with integrity
with integrity
and impartiality
and impartiality
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Winslow, we're going in order on the agenda. You want to? Okay. All right. I state your name.
I, Blake Winslow,
Pledge to uphold and defend
pledge to uphold and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
along with the laws of the state of Utah
along with the laws of the state of Utah
and the policies of Fruit Heights City.
and the policies of Fruit Heights City.
As a member of council,
As a member of council,
I commit to carrying out my duties
I commit to carrying out my duties
with integrity
with integrity
and impartiality
and impartiality
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. One more. I state your name.
I, David Hale.
Pledge your
right arm.
Start over. I
I, David Hale,
pledge to uphold and defend
pledge to uphold and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
along with the laws of the state of Utah
along with the laws of the state of Utah
and the policies of Fruit Heights City.
and the policies of Fruit Heights City.
As a member of council,
as a member of council,
I commit to carrying out my duties
I commit to carrying out my duties
with integrity
with integrity
and impartiality
and impartiality
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
All right, we now invite the newly elected officials to come and our departing council member to replace, to swap places.
All right. Wow. Whew, this is different for me. Thank you. I think we have another roll call. Item 1.3.
2.3.
Nope, sorry, 2.3. Thank you, Gary. Item 2.3, another roll call, Haley.
Councilmember Gary Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Mark Cottrell.
Here.
Councilmember David Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Eileen Moss.
Here.
Councilmember Blake Winslow.
Here.
Mayor Jeannie Grover.
Here. Thank you. Number 3 on our agenda, declaration of conflicts of interest. Does everyone have a chance to review the agenda? And does everyone have something to declare? Seeing none. Item 4, reports. We will hear reports from council members first. If you have anything to report, let's start at this end. Blake, would you like to
Sure.
report anything?
Are we reporting on committees, or do we do that at the end?
This is your council report.
It's altered from past, and so now's your time to report on anything that you're wanting to do.
Mayor, you want to just pause a second and just see if anybody wants to leave and that? And then we can
Sure, we can pause, yeah. And everyone should know it's okay to leave at any point in the council meeting. No one is bound and obligated to stay longer than they're interested, but we sure appreciate all of you here. This is pretty unusual crowd for this, obviously. But,
Plant seats up front.
okay, if you didn't leave, you're here now. Just kidding. You are free to go at any time, but welcome, always welcome to stay and listen and even participate. But Blake is going to report a little bit for us
Yeah, so the CTC Central 3, they are beginning this new year looking for fundraising. So we're going to be exploring some of those ideas here in the city, and they are mostly just covering getting out information about tobacco products that are being used, especially by our youth. So that information is forthcoming, but that's what we've been working on there, and look forward to working with the league, and that's it.
Perfect, thank you, thank you. Eileen?
I'm gonna just not have a report tonight, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
The mosquito abatement district has put forth their tax increase, and we went over that the last meeting, and it was approved by the board. And there was lengthy discussion about it. There were residents of the county that came, and there were a couple of people that had grievances, but it was maybe two, maybe three people commented, but that's how it went. So there you go.
Okay.
If you have any questions about mosquito abatement, please feel free to contact me at any time, after, on the phone, whatever you want.
Thank you. Is that everything?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, thank you. David, anything you want to say?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, I'd like to just report that we had a very successful Christmas in the community last month, and would like to publicly thank those residents, that committee that put that together. I mean, we lucked out, the weather was fantastic, and we had a great group of people, and have heard nothing but positive about that event. So
Absolutely.
it was a great event, and that's it.
Yeah, big thanks to all residents who participated with that. A lot of work, but a lot of enjoyment as well. It was really, really nice, really beautiful. Okay, a mayor report. I will report briefly just on, I guess, what I've been doing to try to prepare for this night and for the next 4 years. In November and December, I've been meeting weekly with our city manager, Dana Franson, to chat about all manner of things related to the city. Also had the opportunity, which I really enjoyed, of meeting separately with each council member and having great conversations with them about their ideas for the coming year, and received training from ULCT, that's the Utah League of Cities and Towns, that is puts on a training, which David and Blake also attended with me as newly elected officials, and seeking advice and perspectives from other mayors and former mayors, and everyone with a good piece of advice, people on the street with advice to share. But preparing in every way that I know how to take on this role. And I spoke a lot in the campaign about communication and transparency, and I'm doing my best to set off on that note, on the good foot with that. I have written a mayor's memo, call it a mayor's memo, catchy little name, for a monthly message, at least monthly. We'll see as we go along if we need to do it more often than that, but just a little message to try to communicate out to residents some pertinent information, up-to-date happenings, what did we talk about at council, whatever. This month's message is about how you can plug in to stay informed. Very easy ways that you can sign up your email or your text. And we don't sell your emails and phone numbers, we just use them to send you, here's an agenda coming up, and you can just click and see what is being talked about. Do I want to go? Do I not want to go? Easy to do, and there are probably 6 other ways to stay in touch with what's happening. So I hope that everyone's feeling of things being accessible and information being easily obtainable and knowable about what's happening in the city will increase, and people more and more will take advantage of those opportunities to be up to date and come and be involved with whatever things you might want to be that affect you or that you're interested in. So I invite everyone to do that. And the next thing for us as a council will be next week. We will hold a strategic planning meeting, which is an annual thing that we do. And I'm excited and looking forward to that, where we will, as a council, discuss our priorities for the coming year. That is my mayor's report for tonight.
When is that strategic planning meeting going to be?
Tuesday night.
Next
Tuesday night?
Tuesday, the 13th.
At 7 o'clock?
At
6
6
o'clock.
actually. Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blake. Staff reports. Who wants to go first? Let's see. Jeff, do you have anything you want to report on tonight?
thank you.
Not tonight. Lane?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight from Lane. Darren?
I'll just, what I got and throw some of my stuff up.
Sorry, what, when,
When I get out,
later?
I'll present.
With the water? Okay, you got it.
Can we ask questions?
At this time, or
Yeah,
on topic of something else?
just
on the
their
agenda?
reports. I was curious as to how the Barker subdivision is everything going along there? Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, you can.
When is it gonna be this is a change for us, so we're
Yeah.
just
so-
trying to find when it's appropriate to
Well, I was
ask
gonna say, Darren's gonna be speaking later about water rates and about the bids. So if you have questions on those,
Okay,
he'll be getting to that later.
now this is,
Your question isn't on this, so
Right.
yeah, go ahead and ask that.
On the Pine Ridge subdivision?
Yes.
Yeah, they're working on it now, they're working on storm drain, they have water, sewer, they're working on utilities, the retaining walls are getting finished up and it's moving right along, so.
seems like they've done a good job keeping their dirt out of the storm drains. Is that my imagination or?
No, they've done a better job than previous, developments, but yeah, it's just this time of year, it's hard and they gotta keep going. But they've been doing good, they've had a sweeper there almost daily, and so, yeah.
Is there going to be a fence of any kind on the top of those walls, or what's that going to look like?
I know that was discussed, I can't remember, I know that's gonna be private property up there for the homeowners, so I would assume that they would put a fence, but I'm not positive that's required from us. Do you remember, Darren, if that was
I
on?
believe they were.
I think so.
I think that's a,
Far enough because of the height of it.
Other houses that have similar walls have been required to have that, so it's maybe not something we need to flesh out here, but it's something that we should.
It was talked about during our meetings,
Okay.
and I believe that was part of it, that, there is a fence required, and I believe the developers can put that in.
so another question, because this is weird for us to have this in the middle, so just a little bit. We received a letter from the Kites. Is there going to be a response from the city to them?
I've spoken with them, actually. I responded in person.
Are they getting a written response to each one of their concerns?
I appreciate that question. It's not always easy to know on the group email who's going to respond, but I have some things I spoke about with them today, and I will send to them. So that I promised to follow up to send to them, so I will be sending something.
Okay, because I think a written response would be nice for them to answer each one of their concerns. And, maybe that would be helpful to them.
Yeah, I enjoyed meeting with them today. They were very gracious, and we sat in their living room and had a good conversation for a little while. So, thank you. Anything else? For staff? More questions? Okay. Moving on to item 5, the public comment period. This is a portion of the meeting where the public can make any comments on any topic. Although the council cannot act on anything that is not on our agenda tonight, but you're welcome to make any comment and take up to 3 minutes if you would like. Do we have anyone wanting to make a comment tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Presentations. So, 5.1, introducing our new youth city council advisors. Can you guys stand up? Please give a hand for Rachel and Anthony. just want to say thank you. You guys are wonderful. They're taking over a post that John, my husband John, and I have greatly enjoyed with the city council. And I have all confidence and faith in them. They're going to love these kids and love the group. Do a great job with them. And make it a fun, great place to serve and be for our youth. Thank you so much for stepping in. All right, and next is a report from Youth City Council. We have some members of the Youth Council here to report to us. Go ahead, guys.
I'm Josh Byers.
I'm Braxton Morris.
And I'm Mason Groberg. And like Mark said, our activity last month was the Christmas in the community. We had a great turnout, and a lot of the members on our YCC were part of the nativity. And I think when we took the food to the food bank, it was like 500 pounds of food. So really happy about that. Our activity planned for January is a tour of the police station.
And then on top of that, we're doing a New Year's Eve, well, not a New Year's Eve party, but like a New Year party with the Kaysville YCC on January 12th, I believe. So we'll do that right before our meeting. And,
Sounds great. Sounds great. And many of you have signed up to go to, and I neglected to add this in my mayor's report, but ULCT is holding they call it Local Officials Day on the Hill, but there's a lot that's youth focused for youth councils, and a lot of you guys are going. Are you all three going to that?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. That's going to be a great activity for you.
Yeah.
So we're happy to support you in that. And by the way, council, any council members, if you would like to sign up, we can get signed up for that, and just let me know, and so we know who wants to go, and we can talk to Crystal, and she will.
And that's the
register.
21st.
Thank you.
21st,
And
from
what,
8 to 2, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Starting at the Capitol, I believe, and then we proceed to South Palace, I think, or,
Yes.
yeah. So they will have mock floor debate that the youth can participate in. There's a chance to put in your own topics or something. Get on the website and click their links and can watch a video of what they're talking about. And if you want to participate in that, that's cool. If you want us to watch it, it's educational as well. So looking forward to that. I plan on attending with you. So thank you.
Question for him, when he says to visit a police station, is that going to be the sheriff's department, or do you know yet? Because it might make sense with the sheriff's department, since they serve our city and they could do a really good
Yeah, do
job
you know
of seeing the whole
who's
process.
reaching out about
We're not on the committee for that, so I'm not sure. It's just we have it scheduled as a tour of the police department. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's the sheriff's or just the police department.
that? So Mark was saying it makes sense since the sheriff provides our policing that you go to
Oh,
the
okay.
sheriff's.
Yeah, we can pass that on to him.
And I'm sure Mark could probably help assist talking to, because he is the liaison for that,
Yeah.
if you
And
need.
they'll take you on a tour of the jail and other things too, probably, which is fascinating.
Okay.
We haven't been in touch with you.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. We'll talk later who the committee members are, that they can
Okay.
get in touch with Mark and can facilitate.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great reports. Thank you guys. All right, item 5.3, we have a presentation from our city attorney, Brad Christopherson. Okay, sorry. Information on general plan and AC 48 wildland urban interface modification, new the legislature.
Well, she's getting that up. So this is part of the mayor's commitment to transparency. Mayor-elect at the time asked that I come prepared to talk about the general plan and kind of what happened a little bit on the back in April of 2023, and kind of go over what options we have as a council and how to, I'm going to use the term ratify that. But before, I want to see if there's any questions first, and we'll get into kind of what the law requires in a general plan, moderate income housing plan. Jared Tingey's here, so he can report back, and if I've done anything wrong, he was involved in all of these up at the Hill. You're going to make that full screen, right, Haley? Is there any questions that you guys have about general plans and moderate income housing specifically, and then I'll get into the meat on this.
How about you give us what you give us and then we ask questions?
Oh, you don't want to ask questions first?
We would rather not
Okay.
ask questions that you're already going to address.
Well, I can skip through, and that's the good thing. All right. I think we can. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let me do this. What do you guys know about general plans? And there's no wrong or right answer here, right? You're not. This is not a quiz.
A general plan is effectively setting a stage for what the city at the time that the general plan was created first forecasts a potential for
Potential.
a particular area.
I like that word. Yes. So a general plan is kind of very broad, right? It's a general plan for the city. It includes things such as here's where areas that we want to focus on commercial, and Fruit Heights is unique in that, like, not a lot of commercial, and so we don't really focus in our general plan a lot on that. But one of the, you would talk about zoning. This is estate lots, R112s minimum lot size, or then there's single family homes, and there's townhomes, and you kind of get a general idea of kind of areas of focus that you want to. Maybe there's an area that needs redevelopment. In your general plan, you create some guidelines that developers can use. Again, they're guidelines, they're not controlling, but they're guidelines. And you can come in. Now, Jared might have some objections on this or some additional information, not objections, but there is currently, and that has for the last couple of legislative sessions, some attempts by developers to make them controlling and not to be guidelines. So one of the things that we're recommending that you do is adopt them by resolution rather than by ordinance, number one. Two, and the league is helping with this to help prevent that from becoming controlling rather than guidelines. Basically what the idea was behind that is if you've got something in your moderate income housing plan that says you have this set up for down zoning to increase density in this area, and a developer shows up to do that, then it's already done and the council doesn't get to weigh in on a rezone. That's a little bit kind of different. That's in a nutshell. It's not quite that simple, but in a nutshell, that's part of what has been a push. And the league has been very successful in fighting that off the last couple of sessions, and will continue to fight that fight.
So it's also a transportation plan.
There's also a transportation plan. There's roads. There's also components of utilities if there's utility needs. Basically everything that a city deals with is incorporated into the general plan. Some cities are more complicated than others, and sometimes you'll even have small area master plans within a general plan that deal with maybe a specific shopping area that you want to redevelop, for example. That's one option.
Can I ask a question on
Absolutely.
that? When you're saying a small master plan within a general plan, how small can that be? Is that?
As small as the council wants to make it.
So it could be an acre?
It could be. I've never seen one that's that small.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
if the council wanted a small area master plan for one specific acre that they are really, really important, like let's say it's City Hall, you could absolutely, that is common to have a small area master plan for City Hall, yes. And it could be as small as an acre. Yes.
I have a clarifying question.
Councilmember Allen.
For something more specific, like say that we have a trail designated on a general plan.
Yep.
The trail designation, that does not, like you're saying, it's a guideline, but not, you can't just require the homeowners that where that trail is on, that they have to build the trail.
That's correct.
Or the city can't come in and take over that area to build a trail.
That is correct. They have to be a willing seller or a willing grantor or donator.
At what point does the trail actually get implemented according to the general plan?
So general plans usually are prospective, right? They look out a long ways, typically 10 years, but they can look out longer than that, especially on a trails master plan. Sometimes, I mean, you all are familiar with the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, and that's been piecemealed over decades, right? And I think there's major portions of it are completed now. And just recently, I think, if I remember right, it was just not that long ago that another final piece in Davis County got acquired. Anyway, it can be prospectively, but you know the takings clause of the Constitution prevents us from just requiring them to give that. Now, there are exceptions to that. Like, let's say you have a 5-acre parcel and part of the trail goes across a 5-acre parcel, and that owner comes in and wants to develop and subdivide all of that. Part of that process may be a requirement from the city that they provide that trail area and easement to grant the additional density to develop that parcel. That's not uncommon, and that's ways that cities can acquire it without taking it, for example, or without expending general fund dollars to get it. So that's a way of doing it as well.
Can the city prevent someone from using a smaller piece of property? For instance, a 1-acre parcel that someone wants to do a lot split, not necessarily but to do a lot split. Can the city prevent someone from doing a lot split and because they want a trail through that property?
I'm sure there's a way that you could prevent it, but I wouldn't advise it. I mean, you can think of a million different ways to skin a cat, right? But I'm sure there's certainly probably a way to do it that you could force the issue, but that wouldn't be my first arrow out of the quiver, is to force anything. That would be the last resort. And again, so if you let's say, for example, you have a 1-acre lot and it's in a half-acre zone, and you've got frontage and you meet all the requirements to have 2 under the code.
Right.
But there is a trails master plan that runs through that property.
Right.
If you want to, there's nothing that requires you to give that up. The city can ask, they can negotiate, they can.
Can they prevent a
If
person
they meet-
from getting a building permit?
If they meet all of the requirements in the city code to subdivide, then no.
Okay.
They can't require that as part of it. They can ask for it.
Okay.
They can plead, they can offer money. That would be my advice. If there's a specific matter, there may be additional detail and nuance to that. So we could talk about that offline if there was. But now, one of the other things we want to talk about in this moderate, in the general plan, state legislature made it a requirement for all cities over a certain population to include a moderate income housing plan within their general plan. And just to refresh everybody's memory and to maybe introduce the issue, what happened in December of 2022, that was when the legislature, that was the deadline for cities to pass moderate income housing plans. We missed our deadline by a ways. Jeff and I and Brandon Green were working on that and we came back multiple times to the council and provided information and got direction. And basically what the legislature did is they gave a list of, I call it a menu. And should this wheel be making this progress down here? Oops, what'd I do?
You have to go back onto the Google Chrome.
This one? Nope. That one. Okay.
Will it not let you scroll?
It's not letting me scroll. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna go next. We've kind of skipped through this. Okay. General plan statutory requirement. As I stated, the plan must include moderate income housing plan. If the city fails to implement a valid moderate income housing plan, and we had to submit this to the state to get them to approve it, right? So once we got it to a final state, we got it passed by the council, then we submitted it to the state for their approval, and then they said, oh, yeah, okay, Fruit Heights is off the list of cities that haven't done it. But just to refresh what happened in that meeting, And this came up as part of a campaign-related issue that were concerns, and we had county commissioners that were concerned about this as well. And so that's why we're talking about this tonight. The Moderate Income Housing Plan gave the code gave a number of items that a city had to implement, and it gave, depending on your population size, you had to choose a certain number of them. And it's been a couple weeks since I looked at this specifically, but I think it was 6 or 7 items that we had to choose by state code that we had to adopt. Maybe it was only 5, but we had to have a certain number of them. And as Jeff and I and Brandon worked through them, there were only about 5 or 6 that were even possible because Fruit Heights is built out for the most part. There's very few parcels that don't have housing on them that are available to develop, that have roads and those things. And as you know, Rockloft Estates and remind me of the other one, Pine Ridge are kind of some of the last areas of the city that are undeveloped. So, and we knew that at the time, so we couldn't list that as part of down zoning or anything like that. So we went through every single one of those menu items, and we identified the ones that we could actually use that the state would actually approve us for. And if you guys remember the ones that were on the council then, one of the ones we adopted is an R16 zone that created a much smaller lot to
We've
enable.
implemented.
Right, that could create a much smaller lot if it was rezoned and the council approved it, right? We created the code that would allow that. That was one of the items. There were multiple items in that list.
Internal ADU.
What's that?
Internal ADU was one of them.
Internal ADUs, yeah, well, external ADUs, because the legislature came back and said internal ADUs are all permitted everywhere. So that got kind of removed that from the list. So anyway, one of the things that came up during it is, so one of the ones that we adopted, and let me just make sure that everybody understands this. During that meeting, there was a total of 3 council members that were in the meeting along with the mayor. And one of the council members was online via phone or electronically, attended the meeting electronically, which is perfectly fine and legal. There's nothing wrong with that.
Which was a fourth, to clarify, which was a 4th member.
Okay, so there was
3 present.
3, okay.
In this building.
3 in the building, okay.
And a fourth,
And a fourth,
myself.
right, was on the phone.
Online.
Yep, okay.
Keep going.
So during that, in order for anything to pass the Fruit Heights City Council, in either get denied or passed, it has to have at least 3 votes, right? So we have 5 members that are council members, and then a mayor. Mayor doesn't vote. So in order to have anything successful, you have to have a minimum of 3 affirmative votes. In that vote was taken, there were 2 votes that were for it. 1 was against it, and I don't know why, but
It's called dropped.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. Councilmember Gary Anderson did not vote on it.
And just I guess for the record, I'll state that I was online. I was listening. I could hear the meeting going.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to reply, nobody could hear me
Okay.
in the room here.
Right, and so what happened is that that got deemed as a passing vote, and during the campaign that got reviewed. There were some concerns about the inclusion, and I'll get to this in a minute, the inclusion of the Davis County Golf Course as a potential future site for moderate income housing, and that got some folks concerned about that designation of the Davis County Golf Course. Being included in that. And the only reason that it was included, just so you're aware, was to comply with state code. There was never been any discussions with developers. There's never been any attempts to get funding or grants. If you want a Bible to be sworn on, I'm happy to do it. I have absolutely zero information, zero knowledge of anything ever attempts to sell that property. And Davis County owns it for the most part, with the exception of about 4 or 5 acres that the city of Fruit Heights owns. But there's absolutely no attempt or any idea, plan, or anything. It was simply to comply with the requirements and to meet the minimum number of menu items that were in the moderate income housing plan requirements. It never went any further than that. Darren has no information about anybody that ever tried to develop it or buy it or acquire it. I've never heard anything from Mayor Pullman or any council member that was approached. Never heard anything from Jeff, the city planner, that was approached to do anything about it. So it was simply put in the moderate income housing plan as one of the menu items, as that site technically could be downzoned and be a place for future moderate income housing if stars aligned, meaning Davis County was willing to sell it, Fruit Heights was willing to sell it, and Fruit Heights Council would have to rezone it too.
Pretty disingenuous is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. No, what I'm saying is,
no intention of ever.
no, it's not disingenuous, and I disagree with that.
Okay.
It is absolutely an attempt to comply with state code. End of story, nothing else. That's it.
But it's not an attempt to truly provide moderate income housing.
It was an attempt to meet the technical, strict requirements of the moderate income housing plan, and nothing more.
Okay.
So,
It goes back to, you're saying it's difficult for a city that's nearly built out.
to meet those listed menu items, yes. There weren't many that we could. Many of them, one of them was to create a starter home kind of zone in an area that has been undeveloped. We don't have that. We don't have that, right? It was to actually create a subdivision along with the developer using state funds as well. If you wanted to get the Olin Housing Walker funds, Olin Walker Housing Fund, get any of that included in it. This is much like, I would compare this and analogize this to the same thing that we have under the United States Supreme Court. There is a case that requires, and this has been a long time since law school, but there is a case that requires every city to have a option and a place for a sexually oriented business. And the city of Fruit Heights has deemed the city shop as the only place that can be located.
City shop?
The city shop is the only place in the town that can be located, because that technically complies with the law.
Does that mean we're about to open, are you saying we're about to open it?
No, there's no intent. There's no intent. That's been on the books for as long as it's before I was city attorney. So
Let's not go there.
well, no, I think it's relevant, right? Because it's not an attempt to be disingenuous. It's an attempt to comply with the code. That's it. That's it. It's an attempt to comply with constitutional law. Is it a loophole? You can call it what you want. It just is what it is. And the reason we do that is so that we're not penalized. There was talk, there are penalties if you didn't comply with the moderate income housing plan. Fortunately, the legislature didn't penalize us, and we were able to get it in and get it approved and move off that list of those cities that hadn't yet complied with the moderate income housing plan. You know, you
What kind
can.
of penalties were those?
You lost eligibility for certain funds. Olin Walker Housing Funds, for example, was one of them.
I think it was A and B.
B and C road fund?
There was discussion of that if the list was pretty lengthy, but cities kind of started complying, and so the legislature kind of backed off of any of those threats. They were real threats, but they never implemented them, fortunately. So
Were any cities penalized?
none of my cities were penalized. So I don't know the answer to that. Jared actually might know that better than I would.
No, there wasn't.
People got in compliance pretty quick with those, just because they didn't want, BNC road funds is a pretty big stick to threaten you with.
Yeah, that's enough.
That's pretty significant dollars for Fruit Heights. So Darren, we looked at that briefly. It was about right around $300,000 for the city per year. Yeah, so that's something we just didn't want to. Anyway, so going back to this 2-to-1 vote, 3 votes, we had it approved by the state. So there is some principles in this particular situation that might apply. I don't think we're going to talk about those. And the principles, by what I mean by that, so this happened back in April of 2023, okay? So we are nearly 3 years from that. So what do? What does the council do with this? I think there's 2 courses of action the council should take, and what I'm recommending. Number 1, I think we should have, in an upcoming meeting, I'm not going to call it a public hearing, but allow the public to weigh in on it. And my recommendation is the council ratify that vote and not undo anything that was done before.
So you're suggesting we don't even make any amendments to it?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
There's two parts.
Okay.
First part is ratify what was done so we don't have any issues going retroactively, having the state undo their approvals and all of that. I don't think it's worth the fight, it's worth the effort. Then the next thing, if the council decides that they want to revise and amend the general plan, typically that's done about every 5 to 10 years. This was again adopted in 2023, so it would be unusual to amend that and open it up again. The list of menu items hasn't changed all that much. I'm certain that, we could go back and look and see if there's options to remove the golf course from there. But again, honestly, the way I would describe this is it's an exercise in futility and a waste of time and money. It's a technical requirement that we complied with, and there's no attempt to develop it. They would have to go through a public process if you did. Fruit Heights Council controls the rezone on the entire golf course. It's within Fruit Heights city boundaries. So there's just no real impact of leaving it alone. And there is expense with changing it.
What kind of expense?
Well, you've got typically a general plan is you hire outside firm to do it.
We never used to. Why, if we're just making an amendment to it, why would?
Well, a minor amendment, sure, if there's a minor amendment to be made.
That's
right.
what I'm saying. So a minor amendment should go back to the planning commission for
So it would start with staff. It could start with planning commission, but yeah, so any amendment to the general plan has to go through the planning commission first, public process, and then it would go through city council to amend it then. So yeah, you could do that. You could do that. I guess the question for the council to decide is, does it make any sense to do that? Is it a big enough deal?
Where is the line between what constitutes a minor amendment that doesn't need to hire an outside company and all those things?
So,
redoing the plan, how far can you go with a minor amendment and still be a minor amendment?
a minor amendment, I mean, again, that's pretty nebulous. It's not really defined, right? So if you're just modifying your moderate income housing plan to choose a different menu option, if we can find one that we can still technically comply with the requirements, we struggled with that before, and that's why it was included. So we can certainly take another look at that and see. That would be a minor amendment.
Could you decrease the amount of acreage of the golf course that was included in that? Meaning,
minor amendment?
I'd have to go back and look at the technical requirements of that.
the golf course is 150 acres. That's
Right.
That's 10% of our city.
Sure.
We're spending time on this, it's not part of the agenda.
Actually,
It is part of the
it
agenda.
is. It is on the agenda.
I'm just saying that it just sounds like we're being very redundant in what we're doing here. Getting on the other things that might be more relevant.
We did request that our attorney would present to us on the legal aspects of this plan since there have been some concerns raised. So I appreciate that. It is we'll try not to go round and round with it, but the legal questions are interesting for us to be able to know the answers to, so we make a decision as to which way we might want.
Yeah, and you don't have to make a decision tonight on which direction to go. There's no vote on this tonight or anything.
Also, last council meeting, we had maybe eight residents. I don't remember the exact number. There were a significant number of residents that commented on
This
the general
was a
plan.
concern, yeah. And so that's why we're addressing it, is trying to
addressing it is
let you know what the ramifications are.
and helping us navigate this correctly.
There are persons in our city who have some interest in this, quite a bit of interest in it.
But it is important for us to know what I appreciate the clarity of your presentation. You want to continue? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we can move on. Haley, can you go? Now, this is kind of history, we already went through that. Again, it was an improper vote. I would not call it an illegal vote, but I would call it improper. Illegal typically includes intent I don't think if anybody looks at that, there was any intention to not. And and my understanding is, and again, I'm not trying to speak for Councilmember Anderson, my understanding is Councilmember Anderson would have voted no. And my understanding is, after speaking with Mayor Pullman, he would have voted, it broke the tie. So it still would have been adopted on a 3-2 vote. But anyway, you can speculate on that all you want, but that's what I understand would have happened had it been done properly. Anyway, we're beyond that and it doesn't matter. We are where we are. So anyway, in a nutshell, my recommendations are, I'd recommend ratify the vote. And then if you want to make changes to the existing general plan, go through the process of making those changes. You can throw the whole thing out and start over. That's within the council's power and authority to do that, or they can direct staff to go say, hey, is there any way we can still comply with the law and get that Davis County golf course out of the moderate income housing plan?
Do you have a timeline that you would recommend that we ratify?
You said I would recommend ratifying as soon as possible, just to put that issue to sleep, put it to rest, and be done with it. And then you
weigh in. Public weigh in.
Yeah, I love the public to comment on it. Sure. Okay. Just because there was a number of public that have already commented on it, and if I'm happy to come back and do a Reader's Digest version of the same thing, so the public who is concerned about it can have the same understanding. That it again, there was never any attempt to do it. It was simply part of complying with the difficult position that Fruit Heights is in its state of development. We just didn't have a lot of options to choose from on that menu list. So, so we're going to move on from that one, and we're going to go into the House Bill 48. So this is another one, and I am not going to hold Fruit Heights responsible for being late on this. Because almost everybody's late on this. There's only a handful of cities that I think that aren't out of compliance on this. So House Bill 48, does anybody remember, was it 2023, 2024, that the California Pacific Palisades burned down, basically? Was it a year ago? Was it only a year ago? Oh, wow. Okay. That was much fresher. Okay, the legislature was aware of that, and they also, do you guys remember the consequences of what happened in California afterwards? A number of insurance companies closed up, said we're not selling home insurance policies in California anymore. So the legislature proactively said, look, we can't have that here. So House Bill 48 required the state to put together kind of high-risk areas in their wildland urban interface zones, okay, which is, Fruit Heights is in a wildland urban interface zone, houses against the mountain.
So is the thing they said, we don't want that happen again, is to have Utah insurance companies.
That's one part of it. They don't want to have a fire burn like that either, right? So yeah, they don't want to have the losses like that, and as the consequence of those losses like that and fires like that, where the home insurance companies have said we're done, we're not insuring anybody here anymore, and we've seen that in Florida, not because of fire, but because of other, hurricanes and things. So anyway, there were two requirements that we have to deal with in this. The state had to put together a map of the wildland urban interface areas that they're concerned about, which they did. And if I remember correctly, Darren, we got that in November?
Last week.
We got it last week.
Right, the day before.
We had a draft of it in November then.
Yeah, well, in October, and that was denied.
Okay, they had a draft and it was rejected. So, so we got it last week. So we were supposed to be compliant on this January 1st.
But we didn't know what we were supposed to be compliant.
We knew we were supposed to be compliant with, but we couldn't be because the state hadn't finished their work.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. This wasn't, you guys aren't in trouble. So, so anyway, what we have to do is we have to take the map that the state provided and we have to adopt an overlay. And the council, and there'll be more information from this, it's an overlay zone. And the overlay zone is going to identify high-risk areas within the city of Fruit Heights. And it's all going to be mostly on the east side and through any of the, I'm going to say goalies, if that's the right term, goalies that leave Fruit Heights where there's a lot of vegetation. So these maps are going to identify those risks, and then you're going to identify an overlay that will go over them. The overlay is going to be used depending on the level of risk assessment of structure fires in those areas, and this is risk to structures that need to be dealt with and they'll have a risk assessment score, and we'll get more information on that and give you, step-by-step instructions on how that works and what you're required to do. But this is going to identify homes that have to comply with the wildland building code, wildland urban interface building codes, which the city also has to adopt. They're already done. I have the ordinance ready to go. We don't have to, there's not a lot of time spent on that. You can look at it, you can read it all you want. The planning commission has to look at it. We'll get it before them. There's no opportunity to modify it, just so you know. The mandate is adopt the wildland urban interface building code that the state adopted. So, and what that does is it limits, it puts limitations and kind of different building codes on materials. It puts different building codes on setbacks. It put different codes on vegetation that's allowed. And you have to have clear space. I believe, if I remember right, it was 20 to 25 feet from any structure. Even if it's on your neighbor's property, you can't have any brush. Trees are okay, but brush is not. Anything on the ground, you've got to eliminate. It's pretty strict.
Kind of a weird question, but if we have to adopt this, why is it even being pushed from the state to the cities? Why isn't the state just saying, Utah, you will do this?
So that's a very good question. And one thing that you have to remember is the state is the sovereign and the cities exist. They're political subdivisions of the state. So the state gets to tell you what they want you to do. It's that simple. And I know Jared's laughing. The state gets to say that. We exist at their cities exist, divisions, counties, cities, towns exist at the.
Well, what's the penalty if we
Yeah,
choose to say no?
Or what is the enforcement, even if we choose, if we choose to say yes?
So the penalty is that you will not be eligible for any funds for preparedness, prevention, or mitigation programs.
Okay.
So they are, now here's where it gets even more fun. The state is working on an assessment to those high-risk structures. Those high-risk structures, homes, pool houses, sheds, whatever, if they're within that overlay zone of meeting a certain risk assessment score, they're going to be assessed on their property tax an additional fee. I don't know what that fee is yet. The state will let us know.
So
And it's an annual fee.
It will be annually assessed and annually collected, and it will show up. And basically what they're saying in a nutshell is if you built in a high-risk area, it's up to you to mitigate your risk and to pay for those costs to mitigate it.
what counts as brush versus trees?
So-
And so what I'm asking is, everybody has their little brushy thing on the corner of their house and their little this along the front and that. So what is how is the definition?
So that's going to be a question for the building code specialist named Jeff Euler. And he probably hasn't looked at all the detail in that yet.
And is there an opportunity for a homeowner to just come in and take out the brush?
Yes.
Okay.
So along with that plan, if you read the.
In fact, you'll be required
state
to.
law, the fee will be assessed for 2 years, and you cannot change it, you cannot get anything done with it. At the end of that 2 years, the property owner can request to have their yard inspected. And at that time, there will be a trained inspector, they don't have them yet, will come in and inspect that property, and it can be reduced if everything's within. But one thing that they've been talking back and forth, if your neighbor hasn't done anything and it's within the footage,
Within the 20-25 feet,
anything
yeah.
that you've done will not matter.
Yeah, it won't count.
What about cities' responsibilities, i.e. our park, or something on one of our parks?
So it's related to structures, right?
But so, yes, but what I'm thinking is we have our Gailey Trail with a lot of growth, and some people have structures down in. So
Are they private structures or are they public?
private structures.
That's their problem.
So, no, because you just said if the neighbors haven't done anything, what if we're what if the city is the neighbor?
So it's the clear distance from the brush that you have to like clean out is related to structures.
Yeah, I hear that. But what I'm saying is they built their pool house here.
Okay.
It's within 20 feet of our Gailey Trail and all of our stuff. Can the city be
Should the city cooperate and clean
the
it out?
bad neighbor?
It could, yes.
So the city will be imposed the fee?
No, the city won't be imposed the fee because unless we own
Because
structures.
we would be in the
Yeah, what
terms
we're-
that she's talking about, the city
Is
would
the
be
bad guy.
the neighbor.
Yeah, no, but it's the owner of the structure is where the fee is assessed.
Okay, but can the owner of the structure then, is there any ability for the owner of a structure to come back against their neighbor for being the poor neighbor that hasn't cleaned out their, and is there a possibility that that poor neighbor could be the city? What I'm asking is, do we as a city need to look at our liability?
My recommendation, so as far as liability, I would recommend be a good neighbor. We are the city of good neighbors, right? So the city should be the example and be the good neighbor to clear out brush if there is some. Lane, you might just got some additional work lined up.
I just want to know
Yeah.
what we need to plan for and do.
Yeah, so there may be some need to go clear out some brush if it's on city-owned property.
So I thought, just coming up out of the trail that goes underneath on the east side, there's all kinds of brush and that kind of stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that's on the city property, we probably need to.
If it's within that clear brush area distance from a structure, then yes.
But trees are okay.
Trees are okay.
But what if it's a short tree?
Depending on it. They still have a list that they're
Specifically, the question that I was asked that was, are the big trees, so you're telling me I have to take down my 100-year-old, spruce or my 100-year-old sycamore? No. But if you've got a bunch of scrub oak that is really short and right underneath in that, yes, you're gonna have to take that out.
But what if it's baby tree that you're planting and it's not? It's just one tree, that's okay, right?
Yeah, one tree, probably not.
Okay.
Does the ordinance get specific on vegetation and heights and all?
My recollection is it has specifics on brush, not trees, like it specifically.
I believe it talks about, in the law, it talks about different plants, and plants that are more fire safe to plants that are more likely to combust and burn your house down.
Yes, and create
So
a
it does have
structures.
language in some of it,
Okay,
but
so
it is all not going to.
So if sending this out, it might be better if we.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get it, you'll get it'll be before you. This is more of an introduction. Here's requirements. You guys are gonna have to deal with this. Yeah, this is kind of a broad overview and we can get into specifics on.
When we have language.
Yeah. Yep. But the first ordinance is you've got to adopt the building code related to wildland urban interface building code. State's already adopted it. They did it in what, 2007, 6, something like that?
Yeah.
The state adopted it, but didn't make it a requirement.
Now is to adopt the current.
Yeah.
So that is, we'll go through this legislation.
Yeah, the legislative session. And so our ordinance will adopt the currently adopted version that the state has adopted, so we don't have to come back and re-adopt it. It will
Does
just,
that go through planning commission first as well?
it will go through planning commission first because it's
Even though the
it's
state
a-
is, okay.
yeah, it has to deal with
Still
the,
go through.
Will we have the opportunity to see a map with?
yes, the map. So yeah, that's, now that we have that, so there's two parts to this. There's the code, the building code, and then there's the overlay zone. Those are two separate things. They can be done at the same time. They can be done in one meeting, planning commission, come to the next city council meeting, be done in that same meeting too. But yeah, there's two different, you'll have to adopt an overlay zone, and then that will kind of set the stage of, it'll narrow down who might be assessed the fee.
Which properties and areas. need-
Which properties, which,
So there's gonna be a fee,
Mhm.
but there's not necessarily, you can't, like if somebody's willing to pay the fee, they just pay the fee and say,
Yep.
I wanna keep my underbrush.
Yep.
And there may be no way to compel your neighbor. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon.
This seems very analogous, like a floodplain designation, like how the government will do a survey, designate certain areas where higher risk for flooding.
Correct.
And then there might be consequences from that, like
Yep.
maybe their insurance might go up, or they not even be able to get insurance because they're in a floodplain.
Or they have to adapt and put pylons in at certain depths to prevent it from sinking, and
Yeah.
different reinforced concrete floors and
This
foundations.
is
and all
very
that
similar
stuff.
to that, but
Yep.
it's just a different kind of risk.
Yep, to address the fire risk, yep.
Okay.
And over the last 20 years, even 30 years, if you look at where houses have been built, they keep creeping up the mountain. And that is in Salt Lake County, Utah County, Davis County, Weber County. So there's a lot more homes, structures in that wildland urban interface than there were before.
Homeowners that are owning these properties that are in this designation, the state's gonna increase their property taxes, but their
So
insurance.
they're going to assess a fee on their property
Their
tax.
insurance will probably go up as well.
Don't know that. Don't know that. The idea behind this is it's trying to prevent, this is trying to be proactive and keep insurance rates affordable. That's one of the main reasons that the legislature stated the findings that they made was to keep home insurance rates affordable. And this is a way they're trying to proactively do that to avoid, catastrophic, wildfire situation.
Blake, did you have something?
Oh, no, it was a question regarding compelling if within 25 feet of my structure or a neighbor's structure, there's no way to compel your neighbor to be
Remind them that
compliant.
that they live in Fruit Heights, city of good neighbors. Everybody should help each
Okay.
other. I don't know if that works very well, but.
Well, okay.
But I think those are the two items that I'll be back next time to do the ethics training and Open and Public Meetings Act training. But
Great,
anyway,
thank you.
anything else?
Thank you. Any
Good.
final questions at all? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, moving into section 7, discussion items. 7.2, we have the Fruit Heights City Council and Planning Commission calendar for 2026. Has anybody had a chance to review that? Are there any modifications or anything that you concerns?
Have we taken into account, school out holidays and how much have we?
Believe so. We don't have, I think you've taken school holidays into account.
Spring break and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
involved in perfectly, so we didn't have to adjust it on that one.
It's all over on the right side, so we should help.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else on that? Item 7.3, water rates for 2026. Darren has some information for us. On water rates.
So just going back a little history on the water rates. Back in 2009, the city did a water rate structure and did all that kind of stuff and came up with a 5-year plan on water rates. Over those 5 years from 2010 to 2016, the average increase for water rates was approximately about $2.45 for the base rate for each one of those years. Between 2016 and 2023, 24, the city only had an increase of about 80 cents. And then we actually had another water study a couple of years ago with Zions Bank, and we did a water rate study, and we also did the impact fee study at that same time. Zions Bank came up with a rate structure and for a base rate and a tier structure for the water for the next till 2030. We've gone through that. They did a presentation to the city council at that time and went through those rates. I was tasked with the city council the last year to make sure those increases weren't too much or they were enough to increase the, to where we're covering our cost. So last year we increased our water rates for our base rate $1.40 from the year before. And this year going through, At this point, our revenues that we've collected in the water is approximately about 47% halfway through our budget. So we're just a little bit lower than the estimate coming in. But one plus to that is Weber Basin, instead of a 7-8% increase this year, just was a little bit over 5%. So they had a small decrease there that we were able to reconcile, and we'll be fine on the collections. This next year, Weber Basin is still scheduled to have about a 12% increase in their water rates that we pay every year for the water we use for drinking and in our houses and those kind of things. And then just the increased cost of operations, maintenance, parts, those things there's been a casual about a 4% increase on those. I'm recommending this year, I've gone through for probably the last month, recommending what was proposed on our rate structure for the till 2030 that we put in our consolidated fee, that we'd have an increase to $39.50 for our base rate, and then each tier rate would have a small increase to cover those costs. But I think as we get through the process, we'll be where we need to be with it's about a 4.5% increase. We should be able to cover the costs of what we have. Yeah.
Good question. So the city currently does not own any wells for culinary water at this time?
So the city owns one well for culinary water. We average probably 3% of our water is produced by the well. And then the rest of it is purchased from Weber Basin Conservation District. Part of that was in, I mean, you may have to correct me, I think it was like 2007, 2008. The city went through and did a part of their rate structures and went through everything. They went through and went to Weber Basin and said, "Where's your water?" And we purchased enough water at that time for build out for the city at current usage and all those kind of things. They went through and figured it out, and we purchased enough water at a lower contracted price than if we had to bump into the next tiers. And so we still pay for increases for maintenance and operation every year on the water we purchased, but we're not, instead of, back then I think we paid $200 per acre foot. That same acre foot now would probably be $800 to purchase it. And so at the time, the city council looked at all that and they decided, let's see if we can buy to build out, and they figured out the different costs, and it was worth buying the water we needed to build out. Two advantages that we have to our tier structure is conservation. This was one of the requirements the state said you had to do, is create forms of conservation. And over the years, the city has done very well on water conservation in our homes. We contract for 745 acre feet of water through Weber Basin. And I think last year, 495,000 or 495 acre feet?
It was right around there.
Yeah, is what we used. We're getting closer to build out. I don't see, like I said, I don't see the golf course being developed, but as far as everything, we're in the 98% of Fruit Heights being built out with homes and those kind of things at this time. So there may be some different opportunities in the future that we sell back some of the water that we purchased. There may be some different options, but at this time, my recommendation will be at our public hearing and those kind of things that we do move forward with the increase of water rates for this year.
Do we have any proposed plans to encourage residents to use less water, like flipping the strip or things like that?
So yeah, we have any of the areas that can't get irrigation. We've got special landscaping that they have to do in those areas to conserve water. Part of our rate structure is actually help people conserve the new faucets that people put in their house and the new construction. they all conserve water. They all use less water. So there's a lot of things happening, and we actually just approved a conservation plan for water just a couple of months ago.
Do we still have any of the spring?
Yes.
The smart
We have a few
timers?
smart timers left for irrigation, but this is not irrigation. This is just drinking water. So this is only culinary water that's used inside the house.
So years ago, the thought was that you wanted to encourage people to be clean, and so you had this minimum amount of water that you would say that they would use with your washing machine, with all of your things. And that was about 12,000 gallons per household. And with everything that is water-wise now, our shower heads, our toilets, our washing machines, everything, that amount has decreased 50%. So you're looking at more of a 6,000 per household for kind of a minimum usage for people. And so people are conserving whether they know it or not, which is a great thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
So when you look back, as Darren was saying, and we look back to, the early 2000s, and we were saying this is how much water we need to build out, and it's been great. But the reality of it is, of course, it depends on density and that kind of thing. But we are saving so much more water than we ever envisioned
Just because of technology.
because of technology.
So in that, I've been reading a lot of the different documentations, the minutes and everything from clear back when they did that study. They figured that if everything developed, including golf course and everything, we would be at about 840 acre feet that the city would need. But back then, there was stated, the golf course is always going to be an open space and be those kind of things. We don't want to include it. So they took out that water out of that estimate. So.
All right, any more discussion or questions from anyone?
Darren,
Yes.
the increase in the yearly cost, is that based mainly on inflation or just on estimated operating costs?
So Weaver Basin actually sends out a 5-year plan of what they figure their operation costs are going to be, all those kind of things, and then they charge us that for that water we purchased. So they have an increase. This year, and we pay that in January. So this year, they were scheduled to just about $350,000 of what their estimate was going to be. After everything and they gone through, we ended up paying about $344,000, right in that ballpark. So we saved a little bit from what we were expecting. Our cost for operations and stuff like that has continued to increase. In 2019, a fire hydrant was $2,500. Lane just actually installed one, and you're close to $9,000. So just in 5 years, there's that much of an increase just in parts and stuff for operations of the system. So we just need to be able to cover those things.
Does somebody, I'm assuming somebody audits that to see we're not overpaying?
Yes, and that is part of the whole thing going through, is going through and making sure we're not collecting more money than we need. And that's part of the study that I've been doing over the last month, making sure we're staying within that. Like I said, Weaver Basin's next increase that will be for next year is about a 12 to 15% increase. They're scheduled, and I called and talked to them and asked them. They said, yeah, it's probably going to be close to going from 344 to 385,000 for that same amount of water. So in order to cover that cost, we need to make sure we're collecting that so we can, because the water fund is its own fund. We don't supplement it from the general fund. We don't supplement it from property taxes, any of those kind of things. It's its fund. So it's got to be able to provide operation and maintenance, wages, pay for the things we need, and continue to put money so when we have projects, capital projects and those kind of things, or infrastructure that needs to be replaced, that money's saved, because Clear Heights City, as you know, we don't bond for money. We pay for cash when we have it. So
I just asked the question because I don't think God has increased assessment yet on the water that comes from that.
No, and he, right now, he's looking like he's giving us less and less, so, conservation, so.
Gary, can I ask a question that maybe
Great
some
question,
people,
thank you.
some people might be interested in? Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
What is the oversight committee for Weaver Basin? Like with mosquito abatement, when they want to raise their fees, they have to have a property tax, truth and taxation hearing. When we want to raise ours, we have, the same thing. What is the overseeing of Weaver Basin? Or, because, 12% is pretty steep. And so what is the?
I know they have a board that has representation from the county on it, and both counties, wherever they serve water, they have those people on the board. So they have a big member board, and then they have.
But it's
their
not
staff.
an elected board, right?
I don't believe it's elected. I think it's appointed and hired.
Weaver Basin it's not federally owned, so I don't think they have to do the truth and taxation.
So,
But
So we're kind of at their mercy.
they have elected officials that sit on it.
yeah, they have elected officials that sit on the board and
Like
go through the process.
Mayors and.
Yeah, most of them are commissioners and stuff from different counties.
So you had mentioned that the city does have a well, but it's only 3% of the volume that we need.
Yes.
One way that we could mitigate these costs is actually invest in drilling new wells, but then we have to make sure we have the water rights for them. The costs of those wells are really expensive, and the risk of that we may not actually get the volume of water, we won't know that until we actually complete the well.
Right.
So that might be good to.
So we have actually, we do have water rights for a well that we can. We have looked at possibly drilling another well a few years back. We actually got money from UDOT because we had a well that wasn't producing or doing anything, but
They covered it.
They covered it out, and so it would be no use ever for us at that point. So we received some money for that. And we looked at a lot of different things, price, cost, and with no guarantee, it was a hard thing for the council to figure to spend, a couple $1 million for maybe.
Hey, Darren.
Yeah.
Darren, I remember during the reconstruction of Highway 89, we used to have a well that we leased to Davis County Golf Course.
The water, we leased the water.
Yep, we leased water. And that got paved over, it's gone.
Yeah, and we received money from
We did,
UDOT.
yep, I remember negotiating with UDOT for the loss of that well and the costs that would create. We actually even had a study done on the best places to locate a new well.
Yes.
And it was right here at City Hall.
One spot.
That was the suggested spot that it should be. And one of the concerns with that is you have this, I'm gonna forget the name of it, the term, but there's a
Sanitary zone.
yeah, there's a zone distance away from the wellhead that you have to have like so much gravel, has to be fenced off, free of any use of pesticides or anything like that, this clean area. And it was, as I remember, about $2 million to drill that. And so-
Just for the test.
And
Well,
then you don't know if you're gonna get water.
Yeah.
Right. The company that did the feasibility study on where to locate it, they were pretty confident that we would hit water. It's not a question of if, it's a question of where.
There
So that's how deep they had to go. Yeah. They were pretty confident they would hit an aquifer, because there's multiple places. You do have to go through a process to do that, but it's an option, and the city could bond for that.
Yeah.
That would be the only way that I think would make it feasible for the city to do it. And then they could potentially reduce their reliance on
For an example, the Weaver Basin drilled a well over here on Green Road. They were hoping to be able to get about 1,500 gallons a minute out of that well. Last I talked to them, I believe they're 300 gallons a minute. It's also high in iron, high in ammonia, and magnesium. So it has to be treated. So there's another portion of it. Sometimes you may get water, but the treatment cost of that water may defeat that purpose too. So so that is objects we have looked at over the last few years, and I think there's still options we continue to look at depending on what does happen.
Are there any further questions on this topic?
So this will be a public hearing at our next meeting to go through this process. So
Not our strategic planning meeting, though. It'll be
at our next
regular
council meeting, yes, on the
Our regular
20th of January. So this will be a public hearing. Yes.
Okay, item 7.4, we'll move on to the bids for the City Hall entry.
So as the council remembers, we budgeted to redo the front of the building because the front is actually falling off the building. We've been working on this for a couple of years.
We've been working on it since COVID money
Yes.
became available.
So we've been working on this for a few years. We actually changed direction a little bit this last year. I spent a lot of time with our city engineer. We went through and put a drawing together and a plan, and we went out to bid. And we not only bid to do the front of the building, and this is pretty much the design that we put out there. We also, the back entrance to the building, because of issues that happened back there with the doors and all that kind of stuff, we put in for both of those. Thinking, for sure we'll do the front. If prices come in good, maybe we're able to do both. Prices actually came in really close to the engineer's estimate.
So these bids are only for the front?
Front and back. It is front and back. The engineer's estimate, as you can see, was $415,000. Pretty close to that for both of those. And the lowest bid was right in that same ballpark going through. So this is something that we want to work and get that approved tonight. But I wanted to see if there's any questions about this.
Any questions from anybody?
Sorry, I have a question. I wasn't involved in a lot of this preliminary work. Did we investigate what it would take to actually repair these problem areas rather than replace them?
So we've actually gone through and we've actually lifted the front steps a time before, and they've continued to sink again. And with new ADA requirements, in order to meet those and stuff like that, the best approach is to pull that off, go down and reconstruct the base and bring it up and rebuild it. The back is kind of the doors are spread apart and those kind of things, and then just replacing that and creating a better entrance going into the back was part of the same thing, so it kind of matches and makes the building look good.
To add a little bit of clarity, if we go and tear it out, we can't legally put it back exactly the way that it is.
Because it's not ADA compliant.
Because we are not meeting the new code. Okay. We must meet the new code.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was understood, but
yeah,
I'm trying to clarify that.
Anytime you're a city or anybody's doing a project like that, even on roads, if you're going in and reconstructing a road, anywhere that there's a ADA handicap access or ramp, we need to make sure those are up to date on those projects. And it's the same thing with the building, is you're going to go in and change it. Right now, I will tell you, when we do our elections, our front entrance valves for ADA compliant. We actually have them coming into the back door right here to come in to meet those requirements. So.
But to be clear, the back door that we're talking about on this one is actually down.
Yeah, it's around back and going into going into the basement in the back, so to the rear of the building.
And what was the rationale for us not taking the $90 million bid? Just joking. Sorry, if you look closely, there's a $90 million bid from one of the contractors. I think it might have been an error.
Yeah, I think there was an error in one of their. but
Sorry.
A little bit of out of our budget.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot out of our budget that we budgeted. The city council did budget enough money to cover the cost, so in our capital projects, so.
Ask a
We
question.
have a timeline for that project approved tonight would be.
They would be starting as soon as possible, they said. So they bid the project to where that they could start immediately, and so.
So it'd take them a few months.
Yeah, they have, the deadline to have it finished is June 1st. Yeah, it's June 1st, so they don't think it will take that long
We
to.
would just be using this door in the meantime.
Yeah,
Both of those.
so they'll be using this door, and we'll do some stuff to make sure people can get in and out and stuff like that. So.
Is the recommendation MS?
Yeah, it is. So part of this is our engineer has worked with, the two lowest bids actually, have worked with them on different projects for different cities. They called those cities and talked to them, and both of them, both cities and those said that they would come back and work with both those companies.
Okay.
So the city's engineer's recommendation is the lowest bid there.
Got it.
Yeah.
I do have one more question.
Please.
What is our guarantee that this isn't going to sink again? And the reason I ask that is because if you look at the mountain coming down and Highway 89, and they have the area just right out here that keeps sinking, and they just keep adding pavement. And so you wonder if there is some sort of underneath flow of water. And so what's the difference that's going to keep it from, are they gonna do piers underneath, or what, I mean?
They're actually, part of it is taking it out and digging it back down. So part of the building right there is the basement. So that was dug really deep. It could have been compaction. There could be a number of things, but part of the bid is actually when they take it apart, digging down and making sure things are put back structurally, so it doesn't happen again. So
Is
that's
there
part of it.
a timeline guarantee from this company or any company, or?
I will have to, I'm gonna have to read through all the documentation on that and see what there will be a guarantee period. But yeah, that is something, but that is part of this project, is digging all that material out and getting down to a good base and then rebuilding it back up.
I think the question is really,
Is it gonna happen in 2 years?
Well, if we pay a little bit more for the next contractor, are they gonna potentially do a better job or give a better guarantee? If that's the case, might be worth going to the next bid if there's an advantage.
I don't know. I cannot tell you. I talked with the engineer. They called the cities that these individuals have worked for, and the cities both said that they would hire them again to do different projects for them.
Sure.
They haven't had issues. They said they were very professional and those kind of things. So I just was going by what our engineers had called and found out and their recommendation on this.
Sure, thank you.
David, one question.
So I appreciate your due diligence on this, so it's really good. As far as the actual implementation of doing it, how will residents get into the city services to do their?
So we'll be bringing them through this door.
That door?
Yes, this door here, and just bringing them in this way during the project.
So it's not be done simultaneously.
Downstairs, there's another access.
This one's not involved.
This door is not involved. The back is around to the back of the basement. Yes. Sorry. And then there's other accesses to get into the basement too that we can move things around, and it'll be a little confusing for a little bit, but hopefully we'll get through it. So.
And no possibility that you're gonna hit water if they.
Yeah, the water line does come in right there, so there is a possibility.
Okay, well.
So there you go.
But if they hit a lot of water really deep without a water line, then let's put the well in.
Yeah, agreed. We'll put it right on there.
So at our front porch.
Make sure that you have public sign, so we direct people around.
Yes, we will. We'll make sure it's all fenced off, all the safety things that's required and stuff like that once the project starts. So I'll just say if this is approved tonight, then we will be holding a pre-construction meeting and moving forward with this project pretty quick. So. So that's the two items on the agenda. I did want to add just a couple more things. I thought of after my report. We did pass our audit, and so that's a plus. And they will be here to report the January 20th of their findings.
So our next regular
Our
scheduled
next
meeting.
scheduled meeting, they'll be here to report on that and present. We had one finding. It was a report that the city hasn't been sending in to the auditor. It's our D&I report, which is a deposit and investment report. A lot of cities have a lot of different investment companies that they work with, and so they're required to send those reports in. Ours is with the PTIF, which is the Public Treasury Investment Fund, and so they already have our information on that. So, but other than that,
You're saying it's a very minor finding.
yeah, very, very minor finding that they just said, hey, this is one of the reports that we should be filing to. So.
And just also to add clarity, we've recently changed auditing firms because the one that we had retired and we needed to find. So I think it's natural to see that one firm would focus on things that maybe another one wouldn't. So having only one discrepancy, to me, seems like it's a reasonably good indication.
Yeah. So, but those reports are also in your Teams folder, so if you want to see them. So.
Great.
Any other questions for me?
I do have one more question
Yes.
for you. And I should have asked it earlier, and is that okay if I?
You may, as a report.
So one of the things that we had talked about was where we are in our budget halfway through the year. And I'm wondering if, maybe at our next regular meeting, we could have some kind of report so that we know where we are in our budget process.
Yes, so I will tell you that our regular CPA that had worked for Fruit Heights and did our CPA stuff moved to a new company. And so she left. A new CPA that works for the same firm had taken over our stuff. And she is pretty much almost caught up right now. But the audit, there was a lot of things going on with this audit and documentations that everybody was providing. And now that the audit's finished, she should be finished, and we should be almost caught up to December within the next week or two. So yes, I'll have that also, all that information into your folders. So
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Action items. 8.1, approve, deny Fruit Heights City Council Planning Commission calendar 2026. I entertain a motion.
I'm ready. I make a motion to approve Fruit Heights City Council and Planning Commission calendar 2026.
Thank you, Blake.
I
have a
second
motion by
it.
Blake. And a
Second.
Second for Mark. Any further discussion on the calendar? I think we're good.
Good job,
All
Blake.
those-
It took me 2 months before I would have enough guts to do that. First night, very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well
I aim to
done.
please.
Very well done. All those in favor, I would say yes rather than yay, right? Say yes.
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 I think motion passes unanimously. Item 8.2, approve or deny city manager compensation. This is an item that was previously already discussed in November, and this action item is kind of a holdover from that agenda. It should have been on that agenda, but we need to take care of it tonight. So if there's any, I need a motion before we can discuss it, but do I have a motion for this to approve or deny city manager compensation?
I make a motion that we approve the city manager compensation.
I have a motion from Mark. Do I have a
Second.
Second from Blake. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
I think we need to discuss the amount because that's not specified in the motion.
I know last time at our meeting, we discussed 6,000 and that was budgeted in our budget.
It seemed as though the Mayor Pullman at the time indicated that 5,000 was what was in the budget.
Is that in the minutes?
I'm
do
gonna-
not have them pulled up right here.
I think it was 6,000.
Sean Stevenson said he
Sean
recommended
yeah.
6.
And the mayor said that was our budget.
Replied with, the budget was 5,000.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like right here, proposed compensation.
Are you able to pull up the minutes and?
Blake's reading.
Blake, you have them?
Yeah, I've got it right here. Proposed compensation increases of 5,000 to 6,000 annually was presented. Council noted the city budget allows for a maximum of 6,000 because the item was listed as a discussion item only. No formal action could be taken. So it seems to be a question mark right there.
So I would still
So it's 5 to
proceed
6.
with 6,000 as would be my recommendation.
Okay, so the motion is for 6,000.
Yeah, I think you need to make the motion with.
No,
6,000.
I'm just doing a discussion.
Okay,
But
sure.
what we're asking you is, could you amend your motion to include the amount?
Again, yeah, or amend the motion.
I think he's desiring a conversation about it before he amends his motion.
Yeah, so if there's no discussion, then I'll amend my motion then.
So the motion is to adopt or to approve city manager compensation and have a second, but the
So-
discussion is what is the amount that we're
Yeah,
adopting? So
I-
we will need an amended motion, but let's have the discussion
I can
as to what the
I
amount
can
is.
simply say that Sean was sitting here, he said he recommended 6. The mayor was sitting right next to me, and he said, our budget is 5.
I can attest.
I know that the
was my
meeting notes
recommendation.
say what they say, I don't disagree with what you've said, but I'm saying that that's what was indicated.
Okay, that shouldn't be a matter of verifiable fact. Is it in fact 5 in the budget? Or is it, there's room there for the council to?
There is room, it's just, there's room for whatever.
5 to 6, there's room in there for the council.
Yes, 5 to
So we
6
can-
is what there's room for.
5 to 6, okay. So we, council, I guess, it wasn't determined at the last meeting?
It just come back.
Through discussion at all?
Yeah, it was just going back.
All right, so,
It wasn't determined, it was recommended by Sean.
Mhm.
The mayor said, and we cut the discussion because it's pointless. We couldn't vote on it that night. It was reserved for tonight.
Okay.
So I believe that the discussion needs to be taking place tonight.
okay. So, my recollection is that there was a list of several, items or goals and things to accomplish that Darren had set out to do in order to, merit that race, which he did in fact do. I can't list them all, the number of trainings, classes, things like that for professional development that he did do and accomplish and showed commitment to those things and growth in all those areas. So
I'd be happy to read them into the record if you prefer, just really quickly.
Okay.
Council members expressed appreciation for Darren's commitment to ongoing development, noted the courses that benefit both Darren and the city. Council members spoke highly of Darren's performance, professionalism, and willingness to improve. His effectiveness in working with both residents and council members. Multiple council members publicly thanked him for taking initiative, seeking improvement, and handling difficult situations.
I endorse all of those statements. I'm super impressed with Darren's professionalism, with his taking on a very big job for our city, bringing all of his also history and expertise with the city to it, and having, I'll just, to be brief, I concur with all the things that were expressed there. I personally, as a council member, would support the 6,000. I'm open to any discussion, any comments. Sorry, well, I'm also a council member. A mayor member of the council. You're right, but I was trying not to be too, I don't know, never mind. I'm open to everyone's thoughts and discussion on this. I personally would support the $6,000 level, but the council needs to agree so we can.
I'd support the 6,000. I think Darren has worked really hard and he merits that. The only concern I have is if the budget if Mayor Polson, it was accurate by saying 5,000. But it sounds like it's not accurate, but we do have the budget for it.
Because right here, the next sentence says the city budget allows for a maximum of 6,000.
Well, that meeting was extremely difficult to listen to.
Yeah.
So the audio from that meeting was
Okay.
It was.
terrible, if I remember correctly.
Regardless of, I guess, to me, regardless of what is said, sounds like we do have the budget. Sounds like many Phil, I was comfortable with 5,000. If the majority is comfortable with 6,000, then I'm okay with 6,000.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
So do we need a amendment then to?
Do you guys have any thoughts to offer on that level of compensation?
I like the number. I think it's a good number. I appreciate Darren's open door and him answering questions for me. And I'd also like to make note that we should retroactively apply this to the 1st
Of January.
of January. The 1st of January. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that was discussed in the past meeting as well. That's what it would be.
Okay, very good. Eileen, did you have another thought?
No.
Okay. Mark, do you want to amend, include the amount in the motion?
Okay. I make a motion that I amend my original motion to city manager compensation of $6,000
An increase of.
with an increase of $6,000 retroactive back to January 1st.
Very good. I have a motion from Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
And that's a yearly increase?
That's this year. I think we.
Right.
This
we
year's
will
increase.
readdress
Right, I'm just saying it
another budget year.
probably
It's
needs to
it's not
say,
it's not a bonus.
it's
It
not
is
a
an increase.
bonus. You don't want it all in one month. It's amortized over the year.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. That's how that works. Thank you. All right, have a motion and have a second. All in favor of that motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 8.3, approve or deny awarding a bid for City Hall entry remodel. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the bid for, the low bid for the City Hall entry remodel,
We need to name the contractor in
If
the
you would,
motion.
please.
MSCI.
MSCI.
I second it.
I have a motion from Gary and a second from Mark. Do we have any further discussion or questions at all on this item? From anyone? No. Great. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
And none opposed? None opposed, so that motion also passes unanimously. 8.4, approve the November 18, 2025 City Council minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over those minutes?
Yes.
Are there any changes?
I did have one small question, and that was just, I have to make my way back there real quick.
If I could make a comment while he's
Please
trying
do.
to find his spot.
Go ahead, Mark.
I like some of the improvements that were made on this set of minutes compared to our other ones, especially where we can see how everybody voted and it's handy right here in front of us. I mean, here tonight's a prime example. Blake was able to pull up the minutes real quick and we were able to get a response or an answer or some type of discussion. So I'd like to thank Haley for making some improvements this time on it. And I think where the improvements are made, it should help us be more effective.
Great, very well done.
City
Very
Department
well
now,
done,
Gary?
thank you. You have your spot.
Let's move forward. I'll talk to Haley about it and just, it's a very minor, it's a very minor, it's not even a typo. It's an ability to understand who has said what. And
Is it the first paragraph? Because I found the first paragraph to be a little bit, and I read through it about 3 times, and I said, it's probably okay. But to me, right, and that very first paragraph of the minutes here. Actually, when they were discussing, it was in the discussion about here, go one more. It was here. Mike Burnett is strong, okay, would eliminate the golf course for high-density housing. That I found was a little bit difficult, but maybe you didn't.
it was a different spot, and I'll just, it's probably not a game changer, and I don't wanna waste everybody's time.
Okay, you're all right to?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm all right to move
Do I have
forward.
a motion to approve those minutes for November 18th?
I make a motion to approve the November 18th, 2025 City Council minutes.
I have a motion from Blake,
Second.
a second from David. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving those November 18th, 2025 City Council minutes? Say yes.
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 All those opposed? Motion the minutes are unanimously approved. We have no tabled items, no past discussion items. We have 3 calendar items, we'll quickly say. Next week, January 13th, Tuesday, we mentioned strategic planning meeting in this building. We're gonna be in the basement, I think, right there.
But the public is still invited.
The public, it is a public meeting.
It'll all be posted.
We will have some dinner. Dinner is probably not for the public, sorry. But we will start at 6, we'll have some food and kind of spend a few hours together in putting our strategic plan and some other thoughts together, goals for the coming year. January 19th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the City Hall will be closed. January 20th, 2 weeks from tonight is our next City Council meeting. And the 27th week thereafter is Planning Commission. And I think that is the end of our meeting. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Yes?
One calendar item thought, Martin Luther King. I know the veterans, as a veteran, we paid to have a veterans monument put here in this front of City Hall. Is it possible to change that from Martin Luther King Appreciation Day to Veterans Day?
Probably not. That's a federal matter, but there's already a Veterans Day in November, right?
Something to kind of, promote the veterans.
Yeah, well, we don't control federal holidays at this level, so that's over our pay grade here, I think. But we definitely honor veterans every day of the year, and especially on November 11th, it's a good Veterans Day. So, thank you. We do honor our veterans, and I'm so glad we have a beautiful memorial out there. So thanks for mentioning that. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
Motion by Gary, second by Blake. All those in favor? Say yes?
Yes.
Unanimous. Meeting is adjourned.